I say we get started. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I'm with Virginia Community Capital, and I'm one of the partners in this program, and my co-host will tell you more about that. But I just want to share some housekeeping things with you. This session is being recorded for education and training purposes and will be available on Virginia Community Capital's Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. And it will also be made available for our partners that are listed on the table on the screen. Also, we have everyone muted just to keep the session flowing, but I know that our presenter, if you have any questions, would want to know that. So please post those in the Q&A section or in the chat, and we'll get those at the end. So Becky O'Quinn with Mountain Empire Small Business Development Center is my co-host today. And Becky, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Sandy, so much. Again, thank you to everyone for joining us today. I am with the Mountain Empire Community College Small Business Development Center, and I'm here along with other Southwest Virginia Small Business Development Center directors, so we welcome you. We provide small business consulting for startups and growth and expansions for existing businesses, confidentially and free of charge. So if you need any assistance, drop us a line in the chat or contact one of our centers. Today, I'd like to introduce to you Chris Clear. He's a sales partner of Atlantic Merchant. Chris's mission in life is to help as many business owners as possible to improve their payment processes and increase their bottom line or their profit. Chris is a top producer and has built a personal portfolio of over 1,000 merchants across the United States. Chris also is the owner of a few businesses himself, so he understands the challenges that small business owners face on a daily basis. Chris is a loving husband and a proud father of 3 daughters, and he lives in Kingsport, Tennessee. So Chris, I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you, Sandy, and Becky, thank you so much. Let me get this going here. Okay, everyone should see my screen. Does everyone see it?
Your PowerPoint screen has not come up yet.
Oh, that's not good. Share screen.
We have made contact.
Fantastic. Okay, so thank you all so much for having me here. I'm really excited to be a part of this. And thank you again to Jonathan for allowing me or inviting me to be a part of this as well. Today, we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to me. I've been very fortunate to work with business owners on a day in, day out basis for over 20 years. And owning businesses myself, I'm very sympathetic to the challenges that business owners face, especially in the current environment we're in, where things are changing on what seems to be a daily basis. So we're going to focus today talking about point of sale solutions for small businesses and also selling products online. Both point of sale options and e-commerce, those parts of our industry are exploding, and from what we can tell, it's only going to go up in usage. Before we get started though on those things, just a little bit about myself. Becky's already shared a little bit of my information, but my background, as I said, over 20 years in sales and marketing, and I've been in the payment processing industry over 15 years, and most notably joined Atlantic Merchant in May of 2011. So I'm about to come up on a 10-year anniversary, and really proud of that, especially in this industry where the average tenure of anyone in sales is somewhere between 3 to 6 months. There's a very low barrier of entry, so we see a lot of people get into the industry and then they seem to be out fairly quickly as well. After joining Atlantic in 2011, I became a partner in 2015. A little bit about Atlantic Merchant. We are a full service payment processing company. And what that means is we work with businesses of every type. Being around for over 17 years, that alone is just a testament to the way that we do business, because in the credit card processing world, just like salespeople come and go, companies come and go as well. 17 years this year, it's something we're very, very proud of. We do work with all different business types, notably retail, restaurants. We have a large customer base that does business to business sales, business to government sales. We also work with a lot of municipalities, companies that do or sell online using e-commerce, and we have a lot of mobile-based businesses. We bring our clientele on by partnering with banks, credit unions, CPA firms, web developers, and professionals from lots of other industries. And I make note of that just because so many companies are prone to telemarketing and cold calling and things like that. And we're very proud of our bank and credit union partners. And we're also very proud of the fact that we are endorsed by the Community Bankers Bank. So a little overview. We talked about how we're going to specifically get into point of sale solutions and the benefits of using them. We're going to also dive into the value of e-commerce as well as the security measures that you should use when selling online. And then we're going to talk about something called omni-commerce and how it can help a business grow. Point of sale solutions, why would a business use a point of sale solution? And I know if we had everyone up on the screen and by show of hands, if we ask who's familiar with a point of sale, I'm sure most of us could raise our hand and name off at least one that we've either worked with at a business or that we've seen people use. But the value of a point of sale solutions, there's so many of them out there. The primary benefit, though, is it gives a business owner an overall view of the business at any point in time. They're able to see everything from the 30,000-foot view and know what's happening with their employees, with their sales, with their inventory. And it helps a business owner be better educated and make better decisions. Point of sale solutions are most beneficial because they're going to track every area of the business. They're going to track sales, and knowing what your sales are is important, but equally as important is to know what individual items are selling. Nearly every business owner I talk with is able to tell me what their best sellers are. We all know what our best sellers are, but something that like a POS that will track your sales, it can point out your items that are in inventory that maybe aren't selling as well as others. And that can be very valuable from the standpoint of marketing. It can also be very valuable from the standpoint of realizing that you may have a significant amount of money invested in some products that aren't selling, and it may be time to discount those and move those out in favor of something that is a better seller. Sales tax is something else that a POS will track for you. And I can't tell you through the years how many business owners I've talked with who have said, hey, I'd like for you to come and meet with me, but you can't come on this day. And the date that they would tell me would be the day that they were trying to do calculations to figure out what their sales tax was going to be, whether it was on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis. Having that information at your fingertips, it's incredibly helpful, not only for planning. I've talked with business owners before who would make a rather significant purchase on equipment or maybe inventory using funds that they really needed to hang on to pay their sales tax, but because they weren't aware of what that sales tax total was going to be at the time, they spent the money. And that's never a good scenario. So having this information at your fingertips is huge. Another challenge that a lot of business owners face when dealing with employees is having those employees getting clocked in and clocked out. The old systems of using a time card and a time clock, they've worked for a very long time, but are routinely a problem because you'll have some employees that forget to clock in, some that forget to clock out, and some that after forgetting to clock in will come back and promise you that they were on time, promise that they were there working when they were scheduled to work, but you really don't have a way to track that. With most of the point of sale solutions that are available today, the employees can't start to use the point of sale until they clock in. So there's no mistaking what time the employee got there and was ready for work, because they had to clock in through the system to begin with. Another benefit of letting the point of sale system track the hours that your employees work is it makes it very easy to download a spreadsheet and then send that information directly over to whoever handles your payroll. That may be a CPA firm or a bookkeeper. It may be a payroll processing company. But being able to download everything into an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file and simply send that as an email, it speeds up the process and takes a lot of pressure off the business owner dedicating time to calculate the hours on a manual time card. Inventory is a huge thing for a point of sale, a huge benefit for it. Businesses are always needing to track this specific product or this aspect of the business. You have inventory controls in place with a point of sale, low inventory alerts, so that you're not going to run out of a product. But equally as important, you're able to go in and see not only what you've invested into the inventory, but also what the retail value of that is. I have a good friend and client that owns an insurance agency, and one of the comments that he's made numerous times is how many business owners don't have enough insurance. And the reason they don't have enough insurance is because a lot of times their policy is based on what they had in the business when they first started. And that may be 6 months ago, that may be 6 years ago. And so when starting out, most businesses have a smaller inventory, but then as the business grows, the business owners reinvest and build up a significant inventory. So having that information on hand can be crucial. Customer data is by far, I think, the one aspect of a point of sale system that is overlooked the most. I recently heard a speaker talking about how in the past, oil was the most valuable commodity in the world. At other times, gold was the most valuable commodity in the world. But today, they are now saying that data is the most valuable product in the world. And the reason that data is so valuable is because it can be used over and over. Whereas with gold, once it's spent, it's changed hands. You can't do anything else with it. With oil, once you've used it, it's gone. But with data, you can use that information over and over and over again. A point of sale system will allow you to capture not only your customer's name, but also their billing information, so their mailing address, their shipping information. You can capture their email address, their cell phone number for marketing, as well as email. You're able to do so many different things with that data. You're also able to put a dollar value on your customers. So you can recognize your largest customers, the ones that are spending the most money with you. And you can also identify those customers that maybe they were a consistent customer in the past, but now you go back and start to notice that the sales have dropped off and they're not using your company as much. It's an opportunity for you to turn around and take that information and begin to market to those customers and find out, do they no longer have a need for your service, or maybe they've moved to a competitor. So capturing that information is really a significant achievement for the businesses that take advantage of it. And I have a good friend who is a business broker. And although this isn't something that a lot of business owners think about as they're running their business on a daily basis, as people get closer to retiring and possibly selling their business, they start looking at the value of the company. And Jeff, business broker I'm talking about, was sharing with me that a lot of people have somewhat of an inflated view of what their business is worth. And the reason for that is so many businesses don't have any data on their customers. So while a business owner may look at the sales and maybe the value of their inventory and maybe the value of their equipment, the person who might be looking to buy that business, they're looking at those things, but also who are the customers? What opportunities exist to sell those customers additional products and services? And if a business doesn't have that information, by business broker standards, that can reduce the value of that business up to 50%. So taking the time to gather customer information, not just once in a while, but on a daily basis with every transaction, can make a huge difference both now and in the future. Another part of a point of sale solution that is, I think, one of the biggest benefits is it provides the owner of a business with the ability to have access without being physically in the building. Through the years, a lot of business owners have had ideas on starting multiple businesses or maybe opening another location, but struggle with a way to be in two places at once. Using a point of sale system allows them to be in one location and making sure that everything's running well there while keeping tabs on their other location. And that could be everything from making sure employees are showing up on time to seeing what the inventory looks like. That's especially important if they have any items that are getting low in inventory. That gives that owner the ability to contact a vendor and place a reorder today versus maybe not finding out until they actually run out, which could be the next day or 2 or 3 days later. And suddenly, instead of having a resupply coming in within a day or two, they could be 3 or 4 days without any product to sell. Something else that we don't talk about a lot, but I think it's a big benefit of having that remote access, is it gives the business owner the information they need to keep an eye on theft. We've had numerous clients through the years who were able to discover that they had employees who were embezzling, and they were able to do this by a combination of looking at sales and seeing how much money should be in the cash register or the cash drawer based off of those sales, and then showing up unannounced at the location and counting the money that's actually in the cash drawer. It's like I said, it's not something we talk about a lot, but to give you an example, I have one client who was able to discover that he had an employee that had embezzled over $600 in one day. And after reviewing security footage and everything, he realized this is something that she's been doing for quite some time. And his security footage would only go back a little over 2 weeks, but every day that she worked, as he started going through that, he was able to see that she was taking hundreds of dollars a day. And had it not been for having a point of sale, he doesn't know how long that had been happening, but it was after putting in the point of sale that he was able to discover it. Now, let's talk about a few different types of point of sales that are out there. A lot of people are familiar with the traditional server-based systems, especially if you've ever worked in a restaurant. There are a couple that are very well known. One is Aloha, another is one called Micros. Server-based systems are somewhat of a closed system, meaning that the business has a server inside the building, which houses all of the data that the point of sale is providing. It has all of the inventory items, the menu items, the employees' information, everything that's needed to run that business. And those systems are very robust. They're able to handle thousands and thousands of different menu items. They're also able to handle something called modifiers, which is basically modifications to an order. If you think of going to a restaurant, you may have, you're ordering a hamburger or a cheeseburger, and you don't want tomatoes on it, but you do want to, add mushrooms or bacon or something like that. These systems are so robust, they're able to handle all of that and more with no issue whatsoever. And they're also able to handle a large number of employees using them at any point in time. They do come with a few issues though. And one of the first things is they have a rather significant investment to get started. A typical server-based system will run somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,000 to about $25,000 as an initial investment just to put the point of sale into the building. Once it's there, it's not uncommon to have a monthly maintenance fee attached to that point of sale that can run anywhere from $300 to $500 or more each month. And finally, a challenge that some business owners face with a server-based system is that often they don't necessarily test out their backups and make sure that the system is properly backing up, and they don't know there's an issue until the system crashes. And at that point, when they go to try to retrieve their data, they learn that the system was not backed up properly and had not been performing the automatic backups that should have happened. In that scenario, they've lost that data unless they're able to hire a great IT company like Aegis IT, or someone who is able to go in and retrieve that data. And sometimes that they may be able to retrieve that information. Sometimes they may not be able to get it at all. So, as great as those systems are, those are a few challenges that they do encounter. The next type of point of sale solution, and really this is the one that has been growing in popularity for about the last 7 to 8 years, are the tablet or cloud-based systems. The difference between these and the server-based system is that everything is stored in the cloud. So you're using an iPad or maybe an Android tablet, but you don't have the concerns of having all of your information stored on that tablet. You're just simply using an app. And by doing it that way, the information is always stored in the cloud. So if something happens to that tablet, if it's broken or something, all you have to do is download the app to a new tablet and log into the account, and suddenly all of your data is there. Your sales information is there, your employees' information, it's all right there at your fingertips. Now, when we're talking about the cloud-based or tablet-based systems, there's quite a few that I'm sure most people recognize. One of the first ones that a lot of people will tell me they're familiar with is one called Square. Square does a really nice job of advertising and marketing. They have a neat, it's a simple little point of sale, but it's not bad at all. I find it to be really fitting for some smaller businesses, sometimes referred to as like a micro merchant, someone that probably only does around $1,000 per month or less in sales, or someone that has a very small transaction amount, maybe $2 or $3, like a coffee shop. In those instances, Square can be a really good fit. They have some issues, and if you're considering looking at Square, one of the things I would recommend is just to simply go to Google and type in Square credit card processing complaints. You can read about it there and decide if it's a good fit for you. A very popular point of sale that we do quite a bit with is one called Talic. Talic is based on iPads, or runs primarily off of iPads, and gives you all of the benefits that we've talked about before, as well as having an online ordering option that is completely integrated into the point of sale. So you can add that online ordering option to your website, and any sales that go through the website will come in through the point of sale. Gives you all the information, and most importantly, it has real-time inventory. Another very popular point of sale is one called Clover. We have started to work with Clover over the last couple of years and are having great success with it as well. Clover, much like Square, is very easily identified if you're in a business. It's not hard to see their logo and to see their little white display. NCR Silver is another popular point of sale, and actually NCR stands for National Cash Register. They are the oldest company in the industry. They have transitioned, of course, from being a company that only operates with cash registers to offering a number of different point of sale solutions. But the NCR Silver package is it's a very nice, very robust point of sale, and we have a lot of clients that use that as well as Talic and Clover in not only retail environments, but also in restaurants. Another tablet-based system, and this is actually an option for both tablets as well as desktop, is one called QuickBooks. QuickBooks is a great accounting software. They do offer a point of sale, and a lot of business owners do like working with that point of sale because it does give them the sales information is automatically populated into their accounting software. A lot of companies like ourselves, we're able to integrate with that QuickBooks point of sale so that you're able to save on processing fees while still having the benefits of that integration with the accounting software. A third type of point of sale is one that's it's mobile-based system. When we talk about mobile-based, what we're talking about there is primarily running off of your iPhone or your Android tablet or Android phone. Square is incredibly popular in that environment, and Talic is as well. And again, the people that we see using mobile-based systems like this, typically it's going to be, it may be a service-based business like a heating and air company or a plumbing company, but we see a lot of people use these when they're running a food truck, or ice cream truck is my favorite one. I have a client that has an ice cream truck, and everybody loves to hear that little jingle playing. But these point of sale systems, the tablet and mobile-based systems are, they're the most requested item that we get on a daily basis. And it's simply because they work so well. They give the business so much information and really make it easier to not only run the business, but also grow the business. Now, outside of point of sale solutions, something that we learned last year, and painfully so for some of us, is we learned all about what it was like to suddenly have to go home and close our business because of this wonderful thing called COVID-19. COVID-19 caused a lot of governors to shut down businesses that were considered non-essential. And because of that, a lot of business owners were not only unable to be in their business selling, but they were also unable to take payments from customers who were trying to pay them during that time frame. So we saw an incredible increase in people looking to start accepting payments through their website and selling online using e-commerce. So if you're thinking about selling online, what's needed? Well, first and foremost, you need a website. If you don't have a website, there are lots of people out there that can help build a site for you. You can do it yourself, but in my experience, typically those who have the best results, they do pay someone that is a qualified individual to build their website. Not everybody that builds websites is necessarily capable of building an e-commerce website. So it's very important that when you're selecting someone to build your site or to add an e-commerce segment to it, it's very important that you find someone that is knowledgeable in how to do it, and make sure that you're not the person they're learning to do it on. Once you have that website, not only are you going to be able to show off your products and services, but you're going to be able to provide additional information about them and really take that website and turn it into a live living brochure, if you will. Now, as part of the shopping or the website, you're going to need something called a shopping cart. There are literally thousands of different shopping carts available, but typically, depending on the platform that your website is built on, that will determine the shopping carts that are an option for you and your web developer to work with. But what a shopping cart does is it's basically the online catalog. It's where your customer is going to make the choice on what items they want to purchase. And as they click on those items, they're going to drop those into the shopping cart. Now, once you have the shopping cart, you have to have something called a gateway. And what a gateway does is it's simply software that connects the shopping cart to your credit card processing account, your merchant account. A lot of credit card processing companies have their own shopping, or none have their shopping carts, but most have a gateway that they prefer to work with, or it may be one that they actually own. In our case, that's what we do. We like to have our clients use our gateway, because that way we're in control of the gateway and the credit card processing. So you need a bank account as a place to deposit cash and to write checks out of. You need a merchant account so that you have a way to process credit card payments, credit and debit card payments. And a merchant account is getting you registered with Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express, as well as the debit networks that are available, so that you can process those payments, and that ensures you're getting the funds that you should for the sales you make, and you're not going to run into issues. I have some people who will ask from time to time about companies like PayPal and things like that. I think PayPal is a great option for a lot of businesses to have, because you do have some customers that will choose to use their PayPal account. But I find that to get the best experience and really to get the lowest processing fees, it pays to have a quality credit card processor taking care of your payments from Visa and MasterCard, Discover, and American Express, and allow PayPal to process the payments for someone who's using their PayPal account. The final piece of the puzzle when selling online is you need proper security. You definitely need to have the right security in place. And when it comes to talking about security, I apologize. When it comes to talking about security, what you really want to focus on with that is a number of things. First and foremost, you want to make sure that your customers have the confidence that your site is secure. You also want to make sure that you have went through all of the procedures to get each and every page of your website secure and locked down. Excuse me. You want to take advantage of all of the different options that exist within your software to prevent multiple purchase attempts, so many different things. I have a slide a little bit later in the presentation where I'll go through all these details, but I can't overemphasize how important security is. Now, let's talk about omnicommerce. In our company, we refer to it as Sell More. And Sell More stands for mobile, online, retail, and everywhere. So omnicommerce, what is it and why does it matter? Well, so many businesses today, especially after being shut down in 2020 and randomly throughout 2020 and 2021, so many businesses now are figuring out that they need to be in a better position. They don't just want to make sales in their retail environment. They need to be able to make sales in a mobile environment, maybe because of curbside pickup or delivery. They need to be able to take payments online. And so what omnicommerce is that's opening the doors up to make sales no matter where their customers are. It allows that business to also, because you're taking those, making those sales and taking payments online, you're now able to sell 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're no longer limited to your 6, 7, or 8 hour day that your retail store or maybe your medical practice is open. In many cases, you're also able to integrate your online sales with your in-store point of sale solution. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, talking about Talic, that's really important for a business because it provides real-time inventory so that you're not overselling a product. I know as just someone who routinely shops online, it can be really frustrating to search for something, find it in on a website, go through the process of filling or putting it into the shopping cart, filling out the checkout information, doing everything all the way to the point of completing the sale, just to get an email maybe that day or maybe a day or two later telling you that the items that you purchased that showed as being in stock are actually out of stock and on back order. It's incredibly frustrating, especially if you have it happen to you. I just had this happen a couple of days ago. I was looking for something that has been out of stock everywhere. I found a website, purchased the items, and was really happy. Got an email about a different vendor that had that same item in stock later that day, and I paid no attention to the email because I'd already found that product. The next morning when I woke up, I had an email from the company I'd purchased those products from, who said that they apologized, but their website was not up to date as far as their inventory goes, and the item is on back order, and they hope to have them in within 4 to 6 weeks. So not only did I go through that entire process of making a purchase just to find out it wasn't in stock, but I also missed out on a chance where I could have made the purchase through another company. Last thing, I can't emphasize enough how much of a difference this made for some of our clients when they were shut down last April. Those who already had an omni-commerce scenario in place, they were able to accept those payments even though the businesses were closed. Now, what types of businesses accept online payments and take part with omni-commerce? Several of them, I'm sure, are ones that you would immediately think of. Others, maybe not. Brick and mortar retail stores, by far, we've seen the greatest increase with this type of business. These are typically the folks that are relying on the local community to be able to support them. And as closures happen and things like that, they were forced into starting to sell online, selling on the mobile platform. And now they're experiencing tremendous growth and being able to sell to people outside of their local community. It's been a huge benefit for them. Restaurants and online ordering have really taken on a totally different look over the last 12 months. Previously, some restaurants had online ordering, but now we have restaurants routinely, in addition to adding the online ordering, they're allowing people to make reservations, place orders for curbside pickup or delivery. And if you think about it, from a customer standpoint, it's much easier to go to a website and place an order and place that order saying that you're going to make that pickup at 5:30 on your way home than it is to start calling the restaurant at maybe 4:30 or 4:45 or 5 o'clock. And other people have the same idea as you. So you're calling and getting a busy phone number or phone call every time and, having to wait. So restaurants have really embraced online ordering. Municipalities is another area where we've seen a lot of growth. We work with a lot of municipalities already for in-person purchases, but now we're seeing more and more of them go to an online option for everything from paying utility bills like water and sewer to purchasing business licenses, vehicle registration, paying property taxes. It's really been a game changer, and especially due to COVID, where a lot of the government offices, I know locally, a lot of the offices were closed for a period of time during tax season last fall due to people being in quarantine. And so having a way for people to pay online ensured that not only were the property owners not late on their property taxes, but it also, was an additional step in trying to prevent the spread of COVID. Schools and universities, we see a lot of growth here, not only from your elementary through high school, but it can be everything from paying for kids' lunch accounts to books, field trips. Universities now, it's the most common practice for paying for tuition is to put that on a credit card or debit card, do it online. That way you can pay when it's convenient. And we're seeing more and more go that direction. Another industry that we're seeing huge growth in is medical offices. Medical groups have for years relied on patients to mail in checks, but that's becoming a much slower process for people to pay. A lot of times it's because people just don't have a checkbook anymore. So few businesses will take checks that a lot of people, when they're opening business accounts or personal accounts, they'll tell the bank or credit union, even if the checks are free, that they don't want any. They just simply need to get a debit card or credit card. So we see a huge growth there. I mentioned a little bit before about online payment security. The biggest thing here is you really want to go above and beyond on security. You want to follow the requirements that Visa and MasterCard have. First and foremost, make sure your website's secure. An SSL certificate is required by Visa and MasterCard if you're going to be accepting payments, and that's to provide encryption so that you're protecting your customer's credit card information. Visa and MasterCard are also going to require you to have a privacy policy, a refund policy. They're also going to require you to let everyone know what country you're in, what country your business is in. And this is to prevent fraudulent websites from processing sales that are a mirror image of a business that's located possibly like in the United States. They're looking for contact information. Your customers need to know how to get in touch with you if they have a problem with their purchase. And so they do need the physical address, a mailing address, email, phone number, all of that contact information. Something else to do with security, and this is very, very important. Take advantage of the security filters that are provided as part of your shopping cart or your gateways. Those security filters are there for your benefit, and if you bypass them, it can make a huge it can be a huge expense to your business. This is just a couple of examples. Block purchases from purchase attempts from IP addresses that are in countries that you do not plan to sell products to or ship to. If you're only going to be selling to people in, for example, the continental United States, block the IP addresses from overseas. That will cut down on a lot of fraud attempts on your website. You can also limit purchase attempts from an IP address, so someone doesn't just keep trying over and over and over to process a card that may be stolen. And then this other option here, limit or block the IP address after excessive declines. The reason that I mention these is because there is something called authorization testing that is often done by people who are trying to find stolen credit card, or they have stolen credit card numbers and they're trying to find card numbers that are still active. And so they'll find a website that has a very basic checkout, and then they will process sales. They'll use automated software called bots to run fraudulent transactions, trying to find card numbers that are still active. And to give you an example, I recently had a client that had this happen on their website. They had over 68,000 authorization attempts on their website in just a little over 6 hours. That may sound like crazy numbers, and it is, but what's really scary about that is that whenever you process a transaction, whether it's approved or declined, there is a cost for trying to authorize that card that's charged by Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. There's also a fee called a cross-border fee that's charged anytime a card is being ran on a website based in the United States or a credit card terminal or anything else. If that card, the place where it's originating is outside of the United States. So it's not uncommon for those authorization testing scenarios to end up costing a merchant tens of thousands of dollars. Even though all 68,000 plus transactions were declined, the client still had a significant expense due to that. And one of the simplest ways to prevent having something like that happen is by enabling CAPTCHA or reCAPTCHA. If you're not familiar with CAPTCHA, that's the little scrambled numbers and letters that you see on some websites when you're checking out. Sometimes it will be multiple pictures, and you'll have to click on the pictures that have maybe a picture of a truck or a staircase or a road sign. The bots that run authorization testing, they can populate information into fields, but they're not able to actually see the letters and numbers in CAPTCHA or the pictures and to make those choices. And that alone can stop those bots from running on your website. And if they can't get a transaction to go through, they go and find a different website. One of the final things you can do to protect yourself is to reach out to customers who place orders. If there's anything that looks odd, maybe a shipping address that's different than a billing address, in today's age of automation, it's a great thing to actually reach out to someone and thank them for their business. A lot of people never do that, but making a phone call the next day to thank someone for their purchase and just to verify that their shipping address is different than their billing address, you'd be amazed how often you can eliminate fraud just by making that simple phone call. So to kind of wrap things up a little bit, a point of sale solution is going to provide business owners with all the tools to track and grow their business. It's going to give you everything you need to make decisions on purchasing, on staffing, on ordering. It's going to do all of those things at the touch of a button. Omnicommerce, it's going to provide you with the ability to increase sales both locally and across the country or the world if you ship internationally. And e-commerce, it's a valuable tool. It's going to allow you to sell the products or services at any point in time, day or night, without having a physical storefront in some cases. I've got clients that routinely sell over $100,000 per month in products through their website. They don't have a physical store. They run their entire business out of a spare bedroom, out of their basement, or out of their garage. So it's a tremendous opportunity. And especially with where we are in today's age, you can sell so much online and you can do it very simply. So there's my contact information. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. And Sandy, Becky, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chris. That was a very valuable information. It sounds like a great way to streamline your business processes, plus gather a lot of data that you can use to make some business decisions. I do have a few questions. So if you don't mind, I'll start. It says, I'm just trying to understand what Atlantic Merchant does. Are you a merchant processing company?
It's a great question. Yes, we are. We are a full service credit card processing company.
Okay. And does your company integrate with QuickBooks Online?
QuickBooks Online is a very unique scenario. Intuit has done a great job over the years of trying to get their clients to migrate from a desktop platform to an online platform. And they're doing that for a number of reasons. First and foremost, I still have clients that here we are in 2021 and they're using QuickBooks desktop versions from 2014. So they've been able to avoid the expense of buying or paying for QuickBooks every year. Intuit, the parent company of QuickBooks, knows that, and they are actively trying to move everyone in that direction. So when it comes to integrating with the online platform, we are beta testing an actual integration with it right now. But what a lot of our clients are doing is they're using us for the credit card processing in the business, and then we're doing a sync with QuickBooks Online. So everything that you process, for example, on Monday, after it settles on Monday night and Tuesday morning, you would come in and you would sync your sales from Monday with QuickBooks. So it is an option, and there will be an integration hopefully within the next couple of months.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to assume you just answered, is this as an API, a file upload, or another way?
That is a great question. I'm not exactly sure what we're talking about. So, and I mean, as far as, I'm not sure if we're talking about for the QuickBooks or if we're talking about for something else. As far as the sync goes, it's an actual upload. If we're talking about e-commerce, it's going to be API.
Okay, thank you. One person asked, for a new small business, a very small business, it seems that e-commerce or a point of sale system may be expensive. How does a new small business evaluate the price of these systems and make a decision on what's best for them?
It's a great question. And it's one that I have daily. For someone that's starting a business, or even for people who have been in business for some time, it's very difficult to try to put a dollar figure on every single decision that you make. When you're looking at point of sale systems, it's one of the few things that I can point to, though, and say this specifically, you can track the benefits of it because you're able to see what all those different things we talked about, from sales to staffing, marketing opportunities, all of those, those different things. I see a lot of businesses start off with the kind of your traditional, maybe a cash register and a desktop credit card terminal. I have hundreds of clients that use those, and it works great. But over time, I see a lot of those businesses struggle to keep up with their inventory, to figure out how long something's been in inventory, and so many different scenarios like that. And that's where a point of sale can really pay for itself by identifying those items that they've been there so long, you've already lost the profit from it. So, it's been my experience. It's incredibly valuable. And with those tablet systems, one thing I think I failed to mention, the initial investment for a tablet system can be as little as $250 to $300, and it may go up to $1,200 or $1,500, which is so minimal compared to those server-based systems that are $8,000 to $25,000 or more.
All right, thank you. What are some gateways you work with on e-commerce?
Great question. So one that we prefer to work with whenever possible is Converge. Converge is a gateway that we actually own, and like I said before, we like to use that one because now we're in control of the credit card processing. We're also in control of the gateway. So it prevents the gateway and the processor from arguing. I have quite a few clients that have become clients simply because they were having issues with their gateway wasn't working properly with another processor. We also work with Authorize.net. It's one of the most popular gateways out. E-processing network, iCheck gateway. There's no shortage of different gateways that we use, but like I said, Authorize.net and Converge are the top two by far.
Thank you. And that is all the questions that I have. We can open it up for anyone else if you have any questions. Sandy does.
Chris, question. Okay, I have it. Let's say that I have a merchant system set up, and I'm using. I'm at a merchant mall, and I'm in there with other merchants, so I have it set up on a tablet. Mm-hmm. Let's say that a customer hands me their credit card to process. Sometime during that processing, whether it be when it goes up, where there's lack of security or what, mm-hmm. but my credit card was exposed. Who has the responsibility then? The merchant service or the actual company that I handed my business, my credit card to? Who has the responsibility to take care of it?
Ultimately, who the person's going to come to first, it's going to be you as the business owner. And to give you an example, there was a study done a few years ago, and they used a very popular little white cube that you can pop into your cell phone. And they were able to show that the information as it was running, as the card information was running through that card reader and being sent, like you said, uploaded and sent off, they were able, the people that were running the experiment were able to capture that data and essentially steal card numbers. And, at the end of the day, the business, the business owner, are responsible because you're the one that chose the product to use, the service to use. Could you turn around and go back to Square or that processor and try to hold them accountable. Absolutely, you could definitely do that, but there's so many different things that fall in there. I know, like in our case, all of our mobile card readers, our desktop readers, any of the card readers that we use, they're all going to not only process transactions using the microchip in the credit cards and debit cards now, and they'll take Apple Pay and Android Pay and all those, but everything we do has end-to-end encryption. So from the moment that your card is inserted into a card reader until and then it's sent through the airwaves or through the internet or even over a phone line. We still have some folks that process over a phone line. From the time that it goes into that card reader until the transaction comes back as a completed and approved transaction, and that and you're signing for it, everything is encrypted. And that's really one of the things you want to look for when you're choosing a processor. You want to find out, are these transactions encrypted? What level of encryption? Because we're constantly being forced to upgrade our encryption based off of Visa and MasterCard standards.
Chris, I just had another question come in. Do you need to have each website page of your website secure, or just the shopping cart pages?
It's a great question. The technical answer is yes. And I say that ideally you do need to have the checkout page. It has to be secure. But at this point, it's really to your benefit to have every single page secure.
All right, well, this is a reminder that this is recorded and the link will be shared out later by email. And Chris's contact number is on that presentation as well if you have any additional questions. Sandy, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Becky. And Chris, thanks so much. I know all of the team knows how long it takes to put a presentation together, and I know you've got a lot of irons in the fire, and I do appreciate you taking the time out to present today, and I appreciate Jonathan twisting your arm to get you to do this for us. We couldn't do it without strong partners like Agus. Just want to give a plug for in 2 weeks, our next Refocus and Rebuild session. That will be on websites, e-commerce sites, security, integrating shipping and tracking. Lots of stuff on that, kind of goes back to what Chris shared today and more. And Justin Blair with LD Inc. Design and Marketing will be leading that session. And I hope that you will join us. And if once you get the link to today's recording and the information, if you've got a colleague or friend that's in business that this could help, please share this. This is why we're doing it. We're providing that content. And that's exactly why we are collaborating to do this program. So I hope everybody is staying warm and the sweat bees are not bothering you today. I think it's 29 days until spring, and I am so ready for it. But thanks again, Chris. Thanks, partners, for your collaboration and your support. And everybody stay safe and warm, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you all. Thanks.